September is around the corner, it's raining outside, and let's be honest, we'll all be happy to stay in and read. So today I'm on a quest for the coziest autumn read books that I could find, and suddenly I knew it doesn't get much cozier than a Studio Ghibli movie. So let's get ready to dive into some magical adventures and heartwarming tales. These are 10 books that read like Studio Ghibli movies. Now, as always, I will be linking all of the books that I talk about down below in the description box so you can do your own research. If you're a Studio Ghibli fan like I am, this first book will need no introduction. It is Howl's Moving Castle by Diane Wynne Jones. We follow the story of Sophie, a young girl who is cursed by a wicked witch to look like a very old lady, and she finds herself in this moving castle of the enigmatic wizard Howl. From there on, it's whimsy, it's magical, it's adventure, a tiny bit of romance, and the movie did it really well. But if you are a fan of Howl's Moving Castle, the movie, then you must absolutely pick up the books as well. Because the books delve much deeper into the backstory. It gives answers that the film doesn't give. They delve deeper into the curse behind Howl himself, they tell more about the Wicked Witch and why she cursed Sophie, and they tell so much more where Calcifer comes from. So I don't say this very often, but watch the movie first and then go to the books, because they will explore that wonderful world so much more. So, first one up for today, Howl's Moving Castle by Diane Wynne Jones. Next, let's dive beneath the waves with The Girl That Fell Beneath the Sea by Axio. This is a feminist retelling of an old Korean fairy tale. A young girl is swept away to the spirit world underneath the waves in this very fantastical, mesmerizing world where merfolk dwell and where a lot of ancient secrets are buried. Now, our main character is not here to sightsee, but she's here to save her own world from these terrible storms that have been ravaging. And as she does, and she explores the world, she delves into those ancient old mysteries and those ancient secrets that are actually tied with her own destiny. It is a beautiful, enchanting story for anyone who likes, let's say, Spirited Away. So my second recommendation for today is The Girl That Fell Beneath the Sea by Axio. From beneath the turmoil of the Korean waves, we go all the way up to frosty old Russia for our third book, The Bear and the Nightingale by Katherine Arden. We follow Vasya, a young girl who has a touch for the magical. She might be a witch, she might not be a witch, who will tell? All around her very rural village there are mythical creatures and things that go bump in the night, and there's magic and spirits, but there's also the encroaching threat of modernization. The Bear and the Nightingale is your ticket to a world where fantasy and the real world seem to blend seamlessly. It is a tale about human resilience, about the beauty of nature and the importance of tradition. The Slavic Russian element of the fantasy gives it that refreshing touch, while on the other side it still feels like something you know and love. It has very evocative storytelling, and it is ideal for someone who loves a movie like My Neighbor Totoro. So our third book for today is A Bear and a Nightingale by Katherine Arden, a book that I absolutely recommend for any fantasy lover. Now, for our fourth recommendation of today, I have a bit of a delectable treat for you. It is a book about an unlikely friendship and the joy of culinary creation. I'm talking about Sweet Bean Paste by Durian Sukegawa. In this book we follow the story of Sentaro. Now, Sentaro is a bit of a failure. He's a failed writer, he turned a petty criminal these days. He regrets lots of his life decisions and is a bit of a wretch, really. He does have a chance encounter though with a really old lady who has this knack for making a sweet bean paste. A treat, a candy that is absolutely delicious. Now, as their lives and stories start to entwine, they find their mutual shared passion, making sweet bean paste, making these candies, and they start to invent new kinds of candy together. It is a very unlikely, a very cozy and heartwarming friendship, and it is a beautiful tale. Not only does this book capture the emotional journey ever so well, but it also manages to paint a very vivid picture of cooking, really. You can almost taste and smell everything they're doing, and it is absolutely delicious to read. So, as our third recommendation for today, I would highly recommend Sweet Bean Paste by Dorian Sokegawa. Number 5 is one of my absolute favorite authors of all time. It is Neil Gaiman. In The Ocean at the End of the Lane, we follow the story of an unnamed protagonist who returns to his old childhood home for a funeral. Now, as he explores the house once more, goes through all of the nooks and crannies that he used to know ever so well, it takes him on a journey of nostalgic remembrance, a journey of rekindling his childhood, really. It is a beautiful, nostalgic story about losing that magical imagination you had as a child, and then all of a sudden, after all those years, finding a bit of it back. Gaiman is a masterful storyteller, there's nothing new about that, and this book is, in my opinion, one of his most evocative, poetical and beautiful books written. It is not about high stakes or a quickly developing plot. No, this book is all about the journey. Absolutely love this book, will not stop, recommend it. So, as our number 5, The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. We're halfway through already, so it is high time for a classic. We're going to travel through space and time with A Wrinkle in Time by Madeleine L'Anglais. In this book we follow the adventures of Meg Murray, a young girl, and her companions, as she starts to time and space hop through different alternate dimensions to save her father from the ultimate evil. Every new world is different, it has its own set of laws and things that work or don't work, and it is absolutely imaginative storytelling. As you go through the story and flip through the pages, you will be immersed in intrigue and wonder and that classical sense of adventure. But this book is more than that. It is also a story about kindred spirits, about the importance of humans bonding with each other and the importance of family. For me, this was a childhood classic. I absolutely adored this book as a young boy, and I still pick it up for a reread now and then. So if you have never read it before, I absolutely recommend you pick up A Wrinkle in Time by Madeleine L'Anglais, because it is everything you need from a book. Now, number 7 is an author that is a recent discovery for me, and I've been devouring their books ever since. The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune is a book that absolutely reads like a Ghibli movie. It is the story of Linus Baker, who is a governmental worker, a caseworker, who is sent to a very strange orphanage for children with magical abilities, really. Now, at first he's a bit of a stickler for the rules, a bit grumpy, your typical civil servant, I guess. Now, as he discovers the story behind each of these children and their abilities and where they come from, he starts to resonate with them. And he finds that the orphanage, this place and these children are starting to change him as a human being. It is a very emotional tale about acceptance and found family and friendship. T.J. Klune seems to manage to get to me with each of their books, and The House in the Cerulean Sea was no exception. If you want a book that feels like a warm blanket on a cold day, but at the same time leaves you a bit emotional, then go read this one. Number 8 is a book I talked about already in length, but I'm going to mention it again. It is A Cat Who Saved Books by Susuke Natsukawa. I mean, come on. It is a book about drinking tea, about saving a bookstore, about saving how people read, and it has a talking cat. It doesn't get more Studio Ghibli than this. This book is a wonderfully cozy read. It has elements of Kiki's Delivery Service, it has elements of My Neighbor Totoro, and I absolutely love it. Whether you like magical talking cats or not, this is an absolutely delightful short read that is ideally suited for a rainy autumn afternoon. So if you want something quick, you want something different, then The Cat Who Saved Books by Susuke Natsukawa is something I would absolutely recommend. Now for number 9, I'm going to recommend a book that I haven't read myself yet, but it is high on my TBR. It is How Do You Live by Genzaburo Yoshino. Now the reason why I want to put this on your reading radar is because this is one of Miyazaki's own favorite childhood books, and it is probably going to be his last Studio Ghibli movie. Now as I understand it, this book is a bit more philosophical in nature and less magical as we're used of Studio Ghibli movies, but it is one of Miyazaki's own favorites, and it is all about finding your own identity. This book is a philosophical journey about finding your own identity and purpose. This one goes high up my TBR, and maybe it should be on yours too. How Do You Live by Genzaburo Yoshino. Number 10, our last recommendation for today, and you had this coming. We have to end with a classic, and it is going to be The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. This book is one of those books that should not have any labels. Yes, you could argue that it is a children's book, but then again it isn't. It is a beautiful story about friendship. A friendship you can find even in the unlikeliest places. A story about the human condition with non-human characters. Every time I reread The Little Prince, and I've read it so many times now, I still seem to find something different, something new in it. And it absolutely blows me away every time again. So pick up a copy if you haven't. Pick one with beautiful illustrations. Just grab a blanket, grab your favorite hot drink, settle down and immerse yourself in this absolutely beautiful story. Last one for today, and a beautiful way to end, The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. And now I want to hear from you. Which is your favorite Studio Ghibli movie? Have you read any of these books? Or which book would you say absolutely reads like a Studio Ghibli movie? Let me know down below in the comments, and we'll talk cozy books some more. In the meantime, if you need some more recommendations, you can always go here.